that F word, failure. How do we overcome it? There's 3 steps that I can give you. We need to prepare. We need to control the fear of failure, right? And then we need to recover from the fear of failure. So all 3 of those, when we combine those, we can actually become empowered by our failures and not overcome. So make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. I'm Jen Plugin, your holistic empowerment coach, taking from the stuck to authentic thriving. And let's do this. So the 3 parts of overcoming failure. No one likes to fail, but everyone fails at some point in their lives. For many of us, the fear of failure is paralyzing and stops us from overcoming obstacles and reaching our goals even. So the fear of failure creates negative self-talk and keeps us from learning and growing. Overcoming the fear of failure is a necessary step to achieving personal goals and being successful, honestly. Scientists, psychologists, and business leaders have studied the fear of failure and how people can overcome it. So the fear of failure is divided into those 3 parts. Remember, preparing for the fear of failure, confronting it, and recovering from it. So how a person prepares for, confronts the fear, determines how they can overcome it. Recovering from fear of failure helps people overcome fear in the future situations, right? Because if we fail once, then we get scared. Scientists have developed specific steps in each area to help people learn to overcome the fear of failure. So let's talk about preparing for fear of failure first. A person must be prepared to face failure to overcome the fear of it. The right mindset minimizes the fear and puts it in perspective. While the fear of failure is a part of achievement, overcoming the fear requires understanding what the failure is and how to learn from it. So the steps to prepare for the fear of failure are: redefine failure, find benefits from past failures, understand threats, and create approach, not avoidance, goals. So redefining failure can change a person's perception and fear level. Industry leaders like in Forbes Business Magazine suggest that redefining failure as learning opportunities helps us overcome fear. It would not be helpful if a person learned something useful from an experience, even if what they discovered was in a way that they, didn't have the right path to success, right? So psychologists suggest redefining failure as, discrepancies or simply times when outcomes didn't meet expectations. When failure is defined in less personal terms or as learning experiences, there's less to fear. To redefine fear, a person should look at their past failures and consider the benefits they receive from those times. Learning a better way, discovering a new path, realizing the plan didn't work out, didn't work all the provide benefits, to overcome the fear of failure in the future. When a person uses information and experience they gain from the previous failures, they have less to fear because they can already know what to avoid. Humans perceive failure as a threat because failure stops people from reaching their goals. They see it as a threat to their desires. Scientists at the University of California, Berkeley, conclude that when people perceive their threat, their bodies prepare to fight, right? So physically, a person's breathing, heart rate increases, and they go into fight or flight mode, okay? Preparing to fight is what? It's negative stress, right, on our body and our mind, and can cloud our judgment, increasing our fear. Science suggests that persons should view failure as a challenge, not a threat. Viewing it as a challenge, a person can calmly and logically think through the problem and find a way to overcome, decreasing that fear response. So redefine threat as a threat as a challenge. A person needs to visualize the obstacles they face. So they need to determine their fear is based on real or imagined threat. People often fear failure because they think of worst case scenarios instead of focusing on positive ways to reach their goals and avoid the failure. Facing a challenge holds less fear than facing a threat. So once a person has redefined failure, the next step is to approach goals with that approach. So next step is to create goals that approach success, not avoidance. Okay. So we want to approach it as success, not avoid failure. So approach goals focused on positive outcomes, learning something new, achieving achieving a next level of success, or growing to fill a need. Avoidance goals focus on negative consequences, not freezing up during the presentation, not missing a deadline, or not falling short of quota. Approach goals with positive reinforcement, and avoidance goals create fear of failure. So let's now talk about confronting the fear of failure. So when confronting the fear of failure, a person must accept fear as an emotion and move past it. The steps here of letting the fear stop the person is let the fear of failure pass, change goals and situation as the situation develops. Build confidence, okay? So fear is human emotion. Everyone feels fear. Business leaders describe feeling fear of failure when they started. but they acknowledged the fear and kept going. If a person's goals are powerful enough, they confront the fear of failure with a strong plan. And when the desire for success is greater than the fear of failure, definite goals help a person overcome fear. People are often paralyzed by the fear of failure when their plan isn't working. They may start strong, but begin to fear, during the most difficult parts of the process. And psychologists actually suggest changing the goals in these situations. So if something's not working, remember, you're not set in stone on what you decide. Our plans are flexible. They have to be. Redefining failure by adjusting the goals limits that fear. So when forces beyond a person's control block the path to success, a more limited goal can help a person still achieve some success without fearing a complete failure. During the process of carrying out a plan, a person also needs to build their confidence. Leaders at the Harvard Business Review suggest focusing on what a person learns along with the way to build, focusing on what the person learns along with a way to build confidence for the next step in the process. The fear of failure decreases when a person has the confidence in their prior decisions and achievements. So reminding themselves that they have already done what they have already done, a personal limits their fears to the fear of the next step. And so how do we recover from failure then? So let's say things didn't work out. We did fail. Even with the best intentions, any plan can lead to failure. It's just the way it is. Many successful people have failed many times. When a person doesn't fail, when the person fails, they do need to recover though positively from that to have another experience that's doable, right? So we don't have that in our mind. So the steps to recovering from failure include treating yourself kindly, accepting your mistakes, and learning from the experience. So people often berate themselves. Oh, me. Oh my gosh, I was so doing this. More harshly failure than they would any other person. Here again, scientists at the University of Berkeley point out that treating yourself kindly after a failure helps stop the person, and helps you learn in the future. A person makes the, repercussions of failure too hard on themselves, and they may develop negative self-image and negative self-talk, and that causes us to fear the next challenge. A person who needs to accept their mistakes when they fail over and over, limiting your success in developing fear of failure each time you face a challenge isn't the way to go. So recovering from failure includes preparing for the next challenge by accepting mistakes and correcting them. If a person views failure as learning experiences, there is more to gain from failure than there is to fear. Educators, when I taught, I taught that failure was a good thing because then we were learning something. So fear of failure is often fear of the unknown outcome. Learning from that failure removes that fear because the person now knows that lead to failure they can actually make another choice instead. So we just limited one of those. So overall here, scientists understand that overcoming the fear of failure is based on human emotion and perception. Overcoming the fear of failure involves defining failure more positively, okay? So it's a challenge, and using skills and abilities to confront it. When a person does fail, they can improve their outlook and limit their fear by using failure as a learning experience. So I encourage you to do these things. It really helps. If you're really struggling with fear of failure, redefine your failure. Really look at the situations that are causing it, and remember, be kind, because I know for myself, the times I've achieved the most are right after I failed really, really hard. When I fail the worst, I know that if I keep pushing through, right around the other side, it's going to be some of my greatest success. So, as always, in the show notes, there's a way to get in touch with me if you'd like if you're ready for a 180 and do things differently in your life, or I have some really cool courses going on right now, from total transformation to 21-day mindfulness to even a group accountability. So definitely check out the show notes. Download my free app, GoGen180Fit, for updating relevant information all the time. And comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are about fear of failure. What just stood out to you today? What's something that maybe I should have had in here? And what are the questions you have? What questions can I answer on this channel for helping you live your fit life in mind, body, soul, spirit, heart? One complete person. Let me help you out. So post your question and I respond directly, and I will make a video about it. All right, tribe. Thank you so much for watching today. Be brave, be kind, live authentically, and always shine. When you're just one habit away, maybe that one habit is overcoming this fear of failure.